Your ATM is safe, your banks are safe, there's enough cash in the financial system, and there is an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve.
This is the president of the Federal Reserve Bank of Minneapolis. And did you hear what I just heard?
There's enough cash in the financial system, and there is an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve.
Yep, unlimited. Throughout history, civilizations have dealt with an intangible force known as inflation.
Inflation robs every American, every one of you.
Markets have prospered and empires have fallen.
$6.2 trillion. We can't chicken out at this point.
Inflation isn't new, but recent years have brought it back into the spotlight to terrorize the minds and wallets of everyday people. From higher gas prices,
this is what $20 fucking gets me?
And soaring house values, it makes us question, will this continue? We'll explore how governments and central banks handle this delicate balancing act, as well as technological breakthroughs like AI and the rise of digital scarce currencies like Bitcoin to unravel what the future might hold. And if there's a way the story doesn't end in a catastrophic collapse of everything we know. To understand this story, we have to go back, way back. About 1,000 years to the epic Roman Empire. Founded in legend by Romulus and Remus, Rome thrived for centuries, including the era of Pax Romana, a time of peace, prosperity, and advancement under notable emperors like Augustus and Marcus Aurelius. Our story begins with Rome's currency, the silver denarius. Minted from 211 BC, this coin represented a day's wage and was backed by its own 100% silver content. However, because the precious metals in the denarius were so pure and scarce, it meant there simply wasn't enough to go around. And that becomes an issue for everyday people who can't afford basic trade, food, clothing, and roofs over their heads. Or, if you were the emperor, the humble conquest and destruction of your enemies. Roman authorities, in a stroke of ingenuity, devised an early solution, a strategic reduction in the denarius's purity. By incorporating cheaper, less costly metals, they could expand production of the denarius without altering the nominal face value. In their minds, this innovation held the key to solving their predicaments. By 161 AD, under Marcus Aurelius, the denarius's purity was 75%. By 244 AD, during Philip the Arab's reign, it had dropped to 45%. Under Gallienus, in 255 AD, it hit a shocking 5%. By 265 AD, the Roman denarius's silver content was just 0.5%. Experts estimated Rome experienced an unprecedented hyperinflation rate of 15,000% between AD 200 and 300. The gradual deterioration of the denarius, along with other contributing factors, significantly hastened the decline of the Roman Empire, which ultimately met its demise in 476 AD. The weird thing is, this wasn't the only case in history. In the aftermath of World War I, Germany experienced a catastrophic hyperinflation episode. Prices spiraled out of control, with a monthly inflation rate reaching approximately 29,500%. The German mark became nearly worthless, and the cause? Excessive money printing. In the chaotic years of World War II, Greece faced its own hyperinflation crisis. Prices skyrocketed with an astonishing 13,800% monthly inflation rate at its peak. People saw their savings vanish, and the economy spiraled into chaos. And the cause? Excessive money printing. Yugoslavia hyperinflation in the 1990s. Cause? Excessive money printing. Hungary hyperinflation in the 1940s. Cause? Excessive money printing. Zimbabwe hyperinflation in the 2000s. Cause? Money printing. Notice a pattern. As it turns out, hyperinflation generally coincides with wars and a series of ill-advised and inflammatory fiscal policy decisions. But at the core, is a result of a rapid increase in the money supply that is not supported by growth in the economy. This fundamental issue of rapid money supply growth outpacing economic expansion lies at the heart of hyperinflation. But this doesn't happen today, right? Right? It appears that the practice of excessive money printing is alive and well. In 2022, we've witnessed significant increases due to the COVID stimulus measures and the geopolitical tensions between Russia, Ukraine, and the rest of the Western world. Coupled with slowing population growth that once justified the rising prices during economic booms, the outlook for the future paints a rather unsettling picture. Without delving into every country's specific inflation rate for 2022, you've likely noticed that prices have been climbing quite dramatically. The inflation spectrum ranges from extreme cases like Venezuela, with a staggering 200.91% inflation rate, to more first world concerns like the US at 8.52 in 2022.
It's the highest inflation rate, Mr. President, in 40 years.
I got that.
So what lies ahead? Will prices continue to go higher? Well, yes, mostly. Inflation tends to follow an upward trend. The distinction lies in the pace at which it rises, sometimes quickly, sometimes more gradually, but regardless, indefinitely. But hang on, will there ever be a reversal, a period of deflation? A period where I might be able to afford a house? Well, that's precisely what governments and central banks attempt to manage.
Today, the Federal Open Market Committee raised its policy interest rate by 0.75 of a percentage point.
Yet, every time they attempt to steer towards deflation, like you've just mentioned, we often encounter recessions.
The stock market is now down 21%.
Because we're now down 43%.
NASDAQ, everything and more has been completely wiped out.
It was the worst day on Wall Street since the crash of 1987.
It started in America last year, has now spread to every part of the world.
And many people bear the brunt. They lose jobs, homes, savings, and investments. When these contractions occur, time and time again, the government steps in to provide support, which is a good thing as that's their role, to help people. But you see the catch here, right? Every time things go south, good old Uncle Powell fires up the printer, and every time we go through this cycle, every time we infuse more new money into circulation, those prices climb a bit higher. So how do we fix it? We do fix it, right? Right? Historically, inflation has been justified by factors such as productivity booms resulting from global cooperation, new energy sources, and technological advancements that enhance efficiency, ultimately leading to cost reductions. Recent examples include the baby boomer era, which increased the workforce, and globalization that enabled services across borders. The internet and most recently AI have furthered this trend. These productivity solutions offer more tangible and beneficial paths than mere monetary policy management by central banks. Now, are you going to ask, or shall I? How does Bitcoin fit into all this? Enter the Bitcoin era.
Bitcoin! With the zero! Yeah!
What's the second best? There is no second best.
All right, I don't know what to
Wait, freeze. No, not that part of crypto. The other part. In the ever-evolving landscape of finance and technology, few innovations have captured the world's attention quite like Bitcoin. In 2008, a white paper titled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, was published, introducing the concept of digital currency that would operate outside the control of governments and financial institutions. This document laid the foundation for a new era of currency, one that harnessed the power of cryptography and distributed ledger technology known as the blockchain. As Bitcoin's presence grew, so did its reputation as a potential solution to inflationary pressures that had plagued economies throughout history. Advocates hailed it as digital gold, a store of value immune to the excessive money printing. But the problem is, Bitcoin doesn't exactly solve inflation.
Shut the fuck up, bitch. Back the fuck up. I'll knock the fuck out of you. Damn, man. Hey.
The inflation cycle seems to be a natural part of history. However, Bitcoin was created to underscore the contrast between excessive currency debasement and its own fixed supply of 21 million coins. Bitcoin may counter inflation by maintaining its supply, but what happens in scenarios like recessions, when quick access to new money is needed for support, essential services, or economic progress? I don't have all the answers, but Bitcoin and the emergence of the cryptocurrency markets highlight one key detail. If you can find something that goes up more than the inflation rate, you get rich. And this mad scramble to acquire as many assets as humanly possible, from the early days of the stock market to real estate to NFTs and Bitcoin, really does highlight what I like to call the inflation game. The true nature of investing and a person's main way to beat inflation. The game we all play. So what does that mean for the rest of us? Do we join the inflation game? Are we doomed to repeat the steps of the Roman Empire and the many empires that have followed? Can I just drink my coffee in peace without having a full-blown existential crisis? The best hedge against inflation isn't Bitcoin, it's a productivity boom. Let's go through two potential paths forward. The best case scenario is where inflation finds its justification and we return to business as usual. I believe that the highest odds we have of fostering another productivity boom, which is needed to justify inflation, lie within the realm of artificial intelligence, or AI. Its ability to perform tasks more swiftly, cost-effectively, and efficiently stand as a sign of hope that products and services that we need may become more affordable in the future. Particularly in the face of population stagnation, AI seems to be the direction we are inevitably heading towards. But there's also a not so promising future. Because of human nature and our inherent greed, it's quite likely that when money starts flowing again, we may overdo it, continuing to exceed sensible limits, benefiting our present selves while dooming our future. Have we become addicted to the practice of money printing to fuel our greed? Or can we exercise self-control? A part of me suspects we may not. Time may very well repeat itself in a never-ending cycle. So, what do you think about the inflation game? I hope you enjoyed this video. It's the first of many short documentaries I want to make on finance, technology, psychology, and more. And please subscribe, like, and hit that bell icon to support the channel. Have a good one.